Well, I'd say that what MD's getting here with me is a very experienced Premier League manager. Arguably, there's only 2 or 3 who've got more experience, games in the Premier League. I think I've probably got the biggest win rate out of a certain amount of managers as well. So I think if you're putting it that way, that's what I do. I win, that's what I do. I win, that's what I do. I win, that's what I do. I win.
Ah, fuck, I've gone and pissed myself. What do I look like covered in this? I look like a fucking loser drenched in piss. I was gonna sing about yourself, but instead I went and pissed myself. At least I've not lost all self-respect until now, because, oh fuck, I've gone and shit myself. Well, would you look at this? I'm all covered in piss and shit. Just earlier I was looking swell, but by golly now I smell. And that's too bad, because I was gonna sing about yourself, but instead I shit and piss myself.
The Daily Ramble podcast.
Hello Hammers fans, David Moyes here, and you're watching Claret and Booze. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Look who's back. Is that the first time you've seen it, that one?
No, I've seen it when I was a viewer,
Yeah.
but now my ban is up.
Yeah, he served his ban. Served his ban, everyone.
No, there's no peanuts. My head's still big. Yes, I look like Lego. You've already started in the chat. But not one of you fuckers has gone, I wonder how John's been. Has he been within himself? Fuck a lot of you.
How have you been within yourself, John? How have you been within yourself?
Mate, you know what's been going on. I've just had lots of problems.
I know.
Nothing a pack of cashew nuts can't solve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but it's mate. It's fine. It's great to have you back. Great to have you back. Well, look, we've got. I will say your Freddie was playing West Ham earlier on, wasn't he?
Yeah, we was over at Little Heath, which is one of the free training ground sort of venues that West Ham have. And Freddie, my boy, plays for Leyton Orient. They lost 3-0. Sounds like a hammering, but it was 0-0 until the 75th. And then West Ham just got a couple of goals, you know. So they was playing expansive, open, passing football, West Ham. It was on the front foot.
Was there no low block?
No low block. Definitely no low block. No, it was a good game.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
What shape would they? Were you taking any notice? What shape were they playing? The West, was it the 3-4-3? Because I've been told it's a 3-4-3 throughout.
Yeah, they play like 3-4-2-1, which goes into a
3-4. Yeah.
3-4-2-1, which is 3-4-3, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is the flavour of Ruben Amorim. So we've got a link, an exclusive link that we're gonna reveal later. But we're gonna make you listen to us talk for a while first. We're gonna talk about Ruben Amorim, and I'm going to give my take on this because it's been back and forth. It's been fucking tennis over that. Then we're going to talk about Lopetegui. Obviously, we know about Fonseca, but you know that one seems to have died down a bit. So we'll focus on Amorim, Lopetegui, and I'm sure John will pull me up when I criticise Lopetegui by saying that I once said he was good.
You did. Well, you nearly wet yourself when Wolves got him, and now you're telling me you don't want him. I can't really.
But that's just because we had Moyes, and everyone looks good when you got Moyes. And then we're going to go on to talk about the other one. All right. So Ruben Amorim, you've been. I think every West Ham fan's been following this, John.
Yeah.
When the news broke, most people I would imagine, got overexcited and went, "What the fuck?" Because I know I did. My initial thought or my initial reaction was, that's not right. It's a smokescreen. But then you looked into it and you saw it's David Ornstein that released it. You know, David Ornstein doesn't work for Sullivan. When people come out and say, oh, this has been done to sell season tickets, Ruben Amorim ain't going to fly over here to sell out season tickets for us. And David Ornstein is a respected journalist for The Athletic. He's not a puppet for Sullivan. So that's not what happened at all. Whether or not it was a ruse from Amorim to try and his agents to try and trigger interest from elsewhere, I don't know. That could have been the case. But I've got a theory on this, John. Go on. I've got more than a theory. So spoken to a few people about negotiations, getting sort of mixed messages. Look, there's different stories out there anyway. You can believe what you want, but from what I've been told about the Ruben Amorim negotiations, now it weren't really so much a negotiation because he didn't fly over to negotiate. Right, he didn't do that. It was. There was an agreement in principle. That's why he flew over, and then there was a presentation to sort of get the deal sealed. Ruben Amorim has done his homework with Tim, I'm assuming, sort of providing him whatever information that he needed on the squad and the state of it, because obviously he plays a certain way, so he's going to need the tools, isn't he, to do his job. Yeah. Ruben Amorim apparently was brutal about the current West Ham squad. He was very brutal. He basically he said there's a lot of work that needs to be done, a massive overhaul. With the current team that you've got, you can't play Ruben ball. No. That's basically what he said. He said it needs a complete overhaul. A lot of players would be going if Amorim came in. So it isn't anything to do with excessive wages or the release clause. That would be done. They knew about that before they flew him in. It's more to do with David Sullivan getting used to the idea that he's going to have to basically cull some players and give Ruben Amorim and Tim license to go and rebuild and reshape this squad. So it isn't so much sitting with Ruben Amorim. This is what I've been told. It's more sitting with West Ham. Sullivan's got some decisions to make. That's what I've been told. And I've also been told, I haven't got the name of this manager, but there's been somebody else spoken to, another European manager, who apparently has given them a similar message. Is giving them a similar message in terms of the state of the current squad. Mind you, having said that, I don't think you've got to be an expert to say we've got a bit of a shit squad at the minute, have you?
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say, because I've also read that Almiron, Lopetegui, whatever his bloody name is, and Fonseca. I've heard that all three have got agreements in principle, pretty much, right? But why has it taken Almiron to fly over back and forth within 24 hours? And I just find the timing of it all a little bit odd, because he's still in charge of his Portuguese league side. David Moyes is still the manager here, and in the modern world, he doesn't need to fly over to tell us that our squad needs rebuilding. We know that. So I find it all a little bit odd.
It was a presentation. So essentially what, and like I said to you, it wasn't really so much. The preliminary talks would have already happened. Most of it, 90% of it, would have been done. Yeah. It came over to talk to Sullivan to basically get it all done, and it's to get, I suppose, to look Sullivan in the eyes and say, this is what we need. It can't happen in January. It can't happen in next summer. It's got to happen now. Otherwise, I'll fail effectively. You don't get any time as a manager, so he's going to need the tools now.
No, of course. But like you said, you don't need to be a football manager or qualified to see that our squad needs a massive overhaul. We've got the oldest and the smallest squad in the league, and it's very the players that we do have available are very, they're there to play a certain way. Yes. And there will be question marks over the players that we've got if they can play any other expansive style that any progressive manager who we'd like to get in would look to play. What I'm trying to say is I don't really understand the logic of him flying over with 4 or 5 games left now. I don't get it. If preliminary talks are done, all of that could have been done over Zoom. I'm sorry. I'm very personally. Yeah. I think Sullivan has done it as a and that sounds a little bit skeptical, but he's done it as a trigger to create a little bit of hysteria, a little bit of, people have even said, that from his perspective, I'm not saying Amorim would have been involved in it, of course not, but from Sullivan's perspective, the push on season tickets, I wouldn't put it past him.
But no one's going to renew their season ticket off the back of a manager that might sign. In one day.
Nick, I'm telling you, mate.
24 hours. It was 24 hours, and the thing is, right. Like I said to you, it was a 24-hour turnaround. It was kind of it was dismantled within 24 hours. So I don't buy that. Like I said to you, I think it was a case of him being brought over to say, "You're our man. We want you in." But then Amorim has probably come out and said, "I'm one game away from winning the fucking Portuguese title. I've got the cup final at the end of the season." And the rumor.
So they'll be in Europe.
They'll be, yeah. But look, it's in Portugal. He wants to be in the Premier League. That much has been clarified. You know, he did.
Yeah,
There's rumours that he wanted. There's rumours that he wanted the Liverpool job, but that ain't happening now because Slot is going in that job.
No, but he was never. Apparently, Amorim was never number one choice of Liverpool anyway. But my point is, Tim's got a massively hard sell on his hands at the minute, right? Because yes, we've been in Europe 3 years in a row, but potentially you're selling the club to managers without European qualification. I would find it, whether it's Portuguese or Premier League or not, I would find it very hard to believe that he would walk away from European football to West Ham, who are a project beyond, not belief, because that's a little bit dramatic. We're a big project again. We need a big rebuild, and we're potentially not in Europe.
But do you not think that for the right person who's got the right ambition to come in, because it can't? Now, what I'm saying is there can't be anything worse than a manager if you're coming into a squad. Like he's at a level now where he can say, no, I'll come in, but you've got to get rid of half of them players. I want my own players in. He can do that now. Whereas, you know, maybe David Moyes can't, that sort of level. He's just got to work with what he's given, that type of thing, which is why he suited Sullivan before. But I think, for me, I just personally think it would be beneficial for him as well, Amorim. I mean, I'm not being funny. Whoever goes into the Liverpool job, they've got massive. I think that's going to be a poison chalice, like trying to follow Fergie anyway. After Liverpool, but with Amorim coming in at West Ham, he's got a blank canvas. He's got a director of football that apparently he knows, but he's got a director of football. There's a load of money there. It is literally, he can shape this squad to do whatever he wants. There isn't as much expectation on him to achieve in the first season, so he'd have a little bit more of a bedding in period. He'll no doubt have a release clause in his contract, like he's got a Sport in Lisbon. So if he does amazingly well in his first season, and somebody big does come in, he'll be able to go. But I don't think it is done personally. No. Personally, I think if let's just say, for instance, let's just say and argue on a scenario, because he was smiling like a Cheshire cat when he got at the other end, not at that airport, right? Now, let's just say it's done. Let's say it's deal done. But he says, I've got a job to finish.
Did you say dildo or deal done?
Dildo. Let's just say it's dildo, right? But he says, I've got a job to finish. I've got a fucking title decider on the weekend, and I've got a cup final at the end of the season. We've got to play this down because I want my team and everyone else to be focused on that. We all know the one who released that the talks didn't go well is Romano. Now, who's got a direct link in with Romano? It's Tim. It's Tim. Tim's the one who gives him the photographs on the jet and everything else. Little phone call. Yeah, that one didn't go so well, mate. You know, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I might be clutching at straws. But
why would Snyder want to do that?
No. For Amorim, because Amorim has literally said to him, "I've got to finish this season. It's done. I'm happy." By the way, I'm not. This is what I'm saying to you. So in this scenario,
you think the smokescreen is Amorim saying he's not interested, rather than the other way around?
So the smokescreen would be. Even if he agreed terms, he wouldn't leave one game before the end of the season. He wouldn't reveal it now.
No, so, he wouldn't reveal it as well. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't thought of it that way around, if I'm totally honest with you.
So that is another thing. That is another thing. I'm not writing it off. I'll put money on it. It's 8-1 now.
I know. What did you get for it?
Only a tenner. It was 8-1.
You got 8-1. I did also read that apparently the offer that we've put in, financial package we've put in for him, is far greater. It's far greater than Liverpool's offer, which he's not their first choice anyway. So yes. But I can see that. I could see that. It could be a double bluff, basically, what you're saying.
It could be. It could work. I mean, look, let's face it. If he isn't going to get the Liverpool job, and he ain't going to get the Bayern Munich job, and he ain't going to get the Barcelona job, well, this is a great gateway in. And London is a massive pull. I don't care what anyone says.
It is. Of course, it is. 100%.
It is a massive pull.
But my point is, if there are other clubs interested in him that are in Europe, that is a bigger pull. We're saying it's a bigger pull because it's our club. Well, you got to look at it from take your West Ham hat off a minute, right? If after winning the Europa League last season we would have approached him, it would have been a no-brainer for a lot of these managers because we was in Europa League this season, right? I just feel that potentially being out of Europe is a negative thing. I'm not saying with him individually. Because I've actually, you've won me over with that argument about the double bluff. I think that could potentially make sense.
Well, both could be true. If he accepted the job, he would want it kept under wraps. He would. He wouldn't want to come out that moment when he's got a critical game coming up and say, "I've taken the West Ham job."
Yeah,
He wouldn't do it.
But then the argument is why, with that very same critical game coming up, fucking fly over and be in the public eye anyway.
I'm not assuming he asked to be photographed. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm not saying he asked to be photographed, for fuck's sake.
No,
I just find it an odd thing anyway, if I'm honest with you. I find it all very strange, very, very strange. The timing of the flying, it was the day after we got stuffed.
But this is what I'm saying to you. Why would Ruben Amorim fly over if it was just for a chat?
No, I don't disagree. I'm not saying it wasn't serious.
No,
I'm not saying he's come over here. I'm not saying he's come over here to help us sell season tickets. I think there's a genuine offer on the table. Of course,
and this guy, we've got a gentleman. We've got a gentleman in our group. He's probably going to come on the show at some point. You want to talk about I'm not going to reveal. You want to talk about financial experts? This guy knows his onions.
I'm not having some boring accountant on here, are we?
He's not. Don't you worry. He's good. He's dismantled a lot. Right now, what he said was, if you look at David Moyes is on $5 million a year. Right, cheap manager, cheap. It ain't fucking cheap. Look how much money we've hemorrhaged on transfers. No player development. If you was to bring in someone like Ruben Amorim, you could pay Ruben Amorim 3 times what David Moyes is earning, and you would make more money out of it. It'd develop youth players. Every player that comes through, if you look at this guy's success rate, when he went in at Sporting Lisbon, he's a ruthless fuck. He just looked at half of the first team and went, out you go and fuck off. Brought in about 6 youth players. He's ruthless. He's got like a 75% win rate. He plays the 3-4-3, but he hasn't got a single tactic. He does adapt himself. You don't have a 75%.
The team is fluid. The team play with fluidity throughout.
So he can play defensive as well if he has to. Yeah, he does what he has to do to win games. But the one thing that is clear massively to this would be that if you're going to go with a 3-4-3, then the vast majority of our first team don't fit that, because that means you're going to have 2 in the middle. So you'll have 2 central midfielders. Apparently, I watched a video on him earlier on, and he has 1 destroyer, so that's Alvarez. He has Alvarez in the middle. And then there is a big powerhouse, dynamic number 8, which would have been Fofana, that Tim was trying to sign. Yeah. The kind of box-to-box, gets forward, can be defensive, can be a box crasher, can do all of that. That's what you have in the midfield. You have wing backs. Now, I'm assuming Emerson can do it, but he is getting on. You think of the energy that you got to have for a full season, John, going up and down the wings.
It's a massive ask. I mean, what's Emerson, 30?
He's 30. So you'd have to probably go and buy 2 top-class wing backs to make that system work. Also, they play out from the back. They play it from the back, so much so they've got a sweeper keeper. Quite often from what I watched earlier on, sometimes that fucking keeper like almost joins. He's like the last defender. He comes out. He's part of play. He's part of the play.
What they do is the centre backs go very wide, and then the goalkeeper becomes like the middle centre back almost.
Exactly.
And then the left and the right back.
Mate, it's so dynamic what he fucking does.
It's dynamic. It's very open. I've got to say, it's very at times it's quite unnerving to watch. I've got to say,
but I don't think he ain't a Postecoglou. He ain't an Arne Slot. He's not stupid. Like I said, you don't play
defensive as well. Yeah.
Because he's played 30 games in the league this season. They're like 7 points clear or something. They're one win away from winning the title. He's in 30 games. They've scored 87 goals. He's conceded 27. Plus 60 goal difference. They do score a lot. So you imagine that. So you imagine you got two new fullbacks, or Emerson and someone else on the right hand side. You're going to have mobile centre backs because they play high. They do. Well, yeah, no, they do. They do push up and they compact the space. That's what they do. But the forward 3, there would have to be a new forward. There would have to be a new. Yeah, there would have to be a new centre forward, but. He plays wide players. Do you remember when we played Palace and you had Eze and Elise? They're wide, but they almost come inside like they're 10s as well. Like they chop inside all the time. That's how he uses those players. So that could be Bowen. That could be Kudus. That could be Paqueta.
The thing is that we're gonna need 8 to 10 players, and I think that's unrealistic to get in one window. But unless you promote a lot of youth from within, you're going to need 8 to 10 players just to bolster the squad. That's not even for starters. I'm talking bolstering the squad.
But listen, we've got an amazing crop of youth talent. Apparently, that is one of the massive selling points to him. One of the massive selling points to him is the youth academy that's there. It's kind of a big pull for him.
Well, yeah, and what I'm saying to you is what's the guy's name? Dave? Is it Dave who watches a lot of the youth stuff? Dave from
Dave from Rainham. Dave from Rainham, yeah.
I mean, as he said before, the youth, the academy throughout seemingly play 3-4-3. Now, you can put 2 and 2 together and say, well, they've been sort of almost practicing Amorim's methods before his arrival, right?
Yeah.
But you know, even without that, it's a big ask. It's a massive task. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not saying we ain't got the players and the youth available. But I think also we're going to have to have a very good window.
But this is where, if you're Ruben Amorim and you're coming in, you're completely overhauling a squad. You're changing the way that we play, bringing a load of new players in. Not being in the fucking Conference League next year is not a problem. You'd probably be grateful. You can just focus on getting your shape right. You can focus on getting your shape right. You haven't got the pressure of extra games. And for me, I'm sold on Amorim. The club have fucked up a little bit here because whoever we get now is going to be a downgrade on Amorim, unfortunately. This is a problem. They've got people's hopes up, and I'm not saying they have. I'm not actually blaming the club for this because the club didn't release that. You know, this would 100%. If there was a leak, which there was, it would have come from Amorim's side. So the Amorim's agent would have used this to peddle and try and spark interest from other. Yeah, it wouldn't have been West Ham that did that.
No, but do you think? I mean, he's not linked with. He's been linked with the Liverpool vacancy, and what's he, second or third on the list? Has he been linked with anybody else moving to anywhere else? I'm not so sure. I mean, what you've got to remember is the Portuguese league. You can pick players up fairly cheaply over there. You know, if he was to come, I'm sure there's a couple of players from his own team possibly that he could bring with him. For example, what's the ex-Coventry striker? Gyökeres, whatever his name is.
Gyökeres, yeah.
Gyökeres, the Swedish guy. Then you've got the ex-Tottenham kid, Edwards. You know, they're both good ages. They're 25, 26. They're prime. You know, there's an opportunity for him to bring some of them players with him if he were to come, and other players maybe in that league, because you can pick up some gems from that league if you know what. Yeah,
because I got this is one other thing. I got it wrong about George Mendes. So George Mendes is Lopetegui's agent. He's like fucking. He's got most people's agent, but particularly in Portugal, he's Portuguese. I do believe he's also the agent of Ruben Amorim as well. So he's also the agent of. He's involved anyway. He may not be directly involved, but he's one of the intermediaries. They're all involved. They're all intertwined. And George Mendes has got. That's how Wolves get a lot of their players. They get a lot of their players cheap and stuff like that. So if we was to get someone like him, it's a massive attraction. And I'm not being funny. Mind you, having said that, sort of talking about Lucas Paqueta and everything else, I love Lucas Paqueta. I do.
He'll probably be gone.
But 85 million, if you get 85 million for him, that's a lot of money for Tim to spend, isn't it? It's a lot of money for him.
Well, yeah, and he's Tim's got good history of spending the money wisely. Yes. I think he spent the right money. You know, when you think what he got and who he got, the amount of players we got for that right money, I think it was a fantastic use of the money. And you can only hope that he's got a little black book of ready-made available players.
Which he will have.
You know, because if Paqueta's going in the summer, they know now. Let me tell you that. They know now if Paqueta's going in the summer. It ain't going to be a surprise to them if Paqueta does go. And they're probably on their balance sheet preparing that money and maybe possibly have already got that money spent on replacements.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would have to trust Steidon to buy well with the money if we got it.
I think he would. I think he's proved that he would. He's proved it not just at West Ham as well, John. He's proved it historically wherever he's been. But so look, for me, Amorim, if that isn't dead to me, it's going to be tennis. You're going to be getting people bringing out stories, counter stories to this and that. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. He's going there. Well, there ain't really no links taking him anywhere else. There's not. So personally, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna wait on that. Now the other two that are being really pushed hard that we know. Fonseca. I'm not going to talk about Fonseca too much today because look, the Fonseca one out of the two, Fonseca and Lopetegui. I'll be honest with you. If I could pick one of the two, I'd pick Fonseca.
I wouldn't.
But neither of them would be my favoured choice because Fonseca is only being pushed at the moment because Barry Silkman is his agent. Barry Silkman's in with all the press, so it's all a big fucking game. So what they probably try and do, it's all like politics. So if you're trying to negotiate a deal with Ruben Amorim, let's say, And then all of a sudden, Barry Silkman leaks that they're at advanced stages with Fonseca. They're hoping that somebody picks it up in the paper and Amorim goes, fuck me, look, they're negotiating with someone else now. What's going on? But this is the sort of shit that they do. So they're trying to use the media to leverage it all the time.
Yeah, of course. It always happens, doesn't it? I mean, that's what agents are good at. Pushing the narrative to try and get their player or managers, get them signed, get them into another job. I mean, I would rather have Lopetegui, for God's sake, another name I can't say.
Lopetegui.
Yeah, I mean, because I think we are a little bit blinkered. Not you, but some people are a little bit blinkered by his time at Wolves. You've got to remember he only left Wolves because there was nothing to spend, and he was promised, money to spend, and he had to sell. He was selling players. Players were leaving, just walking out the door almost. I'd rather have him. If I'm totally honest with you, I'd rather have him out of him and Fonseca. But yes, not my first choice.
There you go. You get a lot of love in the chat, John. A lot of
love. Arse kissers.
Yeah, but you're I will say, mate, you are on pew duty if we
No, I've been spent. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. What I've been doing for the last 5 months is that I've been talking to someone. Yeah. Because I've had I couldn't sleep at night. All I could hear was Mickey's squeaky Joe Pasquale voice saying pew pew pew. And what they told me to do, they told me to write my own catchphrase for when the fireworks happen. So I've got my own firework. I've got my own catchphrase ready for that.
Have I turned it off?
Only works when Mickey's on, thank fuck.
There you go. I'll turn it on.
That work. Ready? You ready for this? The big reveal?
Go on.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, that's shit.
Oh, right.
I ain't got the same thing to it. Right, okay. But yeah, so look, that's what I think of the Fonseca deal. I don't think it will happen. My choice, not John's. My choice would be Fonseca because he plays a better style of football, a better brand of football. He does.
Ultra 505 says, why do we always target managers who have been around the block instead of an up-and-coming, exciting manager? He says player. It's a good point. There's a lot of managers out there that we would not have heard of that could potentially do a good job. But I think I would trust anyone Steiden trusts. Whether they've been around the block or not.
I'm the same. But there is definitely a concern. I don't think there is a concern, everyone, because yes, David Sullivan is going to try and push he's going to try and push managers. He's going to try and get Tim to take a cheaper manager. He is. He's going to try and do that. He will. It's just the way that he works. So he probably will be pushing, Fonseca on Tim. But it was reported by Jacob Steinberg earlier on that there's disagreements in the boardroom, which means that Sullivan's going, what do you mean in this one? And Steiten's obviously going, no, I can't work with him. I can't. That ain't going to happen. So providing Tim stands firm and he gets his own way, and I think you'll know if he's got his own way because he's got a high profile. He won't stick around if Sullivan does a dirty on him again. So look, let's move on to Lopetegui. Is it Lopetegui?
I don't
Lopetegui.
Call him the old Wolves manager.
Lopetegui, anyway. So, look, my concern with this, all right, when he came into Wolves, he was a big name. All I saw, I didn't know much about him. I knew he managed the Spanish national team. Yeah. I knew that he'd managed Real Madrid. He'd done very well with Sevilla. Only managed Real Madrid for 14 games, though. He managed Sevilla for a few years, won a trophy over there as well. And I thought, great CV. They've done, how the fuck have they gone and got him? Lopetegui. And they've gone and got him. But you know what? When you look at the facts, he had more players. He had more at his disposal when he went there. And they've sold players because they've had to because of their financial problems. Gary O'Neill's coming and done. He's knocked spots off of what fucking Lopetegui did.
But,
he has.
But what Gary O'Neill's done, he's brought in Dawson. He brought back the
Lopetegui brought in Dawson.
Yeah, I know, but I think he's brought in Doherty back from Spurs. Doherty, whatever his name is. He's got Kilman playing. I think O'Neill's creating. It went very Portuguese, didn't it? It was like everyone
Yeah.
I think O'Neill's brought in a bit of a backbone and been a bit more British in terms of the backbone is British, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he's restored balance. That's what.
Yeah, restored balance along the way. But Gary O'Neill's done great. I mean, did you hear yesterday? Listen, there's rumours everywhere. But I read yesterday somewhere that Liverpool have already interviewed Gary O'Neill for their role. I'm like, what?
Would you take Gary O'Neill? Would you?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I'd have Gary O'Neill over Lopetegui and Fonseca.
Yeah, I
would.
think because we football fans have there's this thing banded about, like, does he know the club? And I think a lot of football fans like that link, someone knowing the club. And obviously Gary O'Neill played for us for a couple of years. But I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say he's not my first choice, but I genuinely wouldn't say no. I know he's only been in the job a little while, but I genuinely wouldn't say no.
My only concern is when we played Wolves, he did result in the last time. He went all low block in that second half. So they was all over us in the first half, all over us. They was pissing all over us.
Sometimes you have to. West Ham, I was at the Wolves game. We came out different in the second half, and sometimes the way the team come out.
You're saying we forced it. We forced it.
I think we did a little bit. Yeah, I actually think credit where credit was due against Wolves. He made 2 big changes by Moyes' standards, taking off both the Czech players, and Ben Johnson made a huge difference. And we pushed them back as much as they were low blocking.
The wind really pushed them back. It did. From James Ward-Prowse's corner. But yeah, so look, Lopetegui.
I'll be seeing what you've been saying about him, you knob.
Yeah, so look, Lopetegui. We'll talk about James Ward-Prowse after. Right, so Lopetegui. For me, I'll be honest with you. If he comes in, there's a lot of people that are saying he's no better than Moyes, this, that, the other. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the case at all. I think he would be better than Moyes. Is it someone that I want? No. He's not. But it would be better than what we got now. Far better than what we got now. He isn't an exciting manager, John. His style of football ain't great. It's not going to excite anyone. I don't believe for a minute that would be a Tim Steidten manager. That would be my main problem with it.
No, look, I didn't say I want him. I said out of him and Fonseca, I'd rather have him. But I'd rather have Amorim. Of course I would. I probably, we're never going to do it because we're going to play it safe to some extent. But, I wouldn't be adverse to Gary O'Neill. I really wouldn't. Not over Amorim. I'm saying if that came about, I wouldn't be. It wouldn't bother me, mate.
But it's like Hammer 89 said there. If you can't go and get the prize young manager who's out there at the moment, you haven't got to go and get Amorim. You can get Akira McKenna. There are so many young managers out there where if we are genuinely putting in this structure in place at West Ham, which apparently we have done, where now it's Tim Steidten, you've got all the coaching staff underneath, you've got the analysts, you've got the fucking scouts, you've got the connection with the youth team, then all we need is a top-class coach, yeah?
Well,
is that not all we need?
Well, it is technically, yeah, because they're not going to be running the club from top to bottom. No. They're just going to be on the training field coaching. Would you take companies?
I would, 100%.
If Burnley go down, you could possibly take him. I mean, it is, us when it all started coming about, you hear Mourinho, Lopetegui.
Yeah.
They are the same names that will come up time and time again. It is that carousel. Amorim is something different for me. I wouldn't mind Amorim at all. I would take him. Of course I would. If you go to the next ones down, if you go to the next level, and I don't mean it derogatory, if you look at O'Neill, Company, and the Ipswich lad, McKenna,
yeah.
Would you take any of those 3? Because if you're craving change and something new,
I would. I've already said this, providing it's Tim's pick. Like, for instance, when they went and got, everyone knows who Xabi Alonso is as a player, but not as a manager. When they went and got him, he was at Real Sociedad B. No one knew fuck all about him as a manager.
Oh, yeah, when they plucked him out of thin air,
yeah. But they did pluck him out of thin air to a degree. And the thing is, you can know, because there's so many. Look at De Zerbi. Look, he didn't come from nowhere. He was at Sassuolo. He went to was it the Ukrainian team? I can't think of who it was. Where they got him from Shakhtar. He was there as well. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, there are so many managers around that you can go and get,
mate. But there's managers that I have never heard of as well. This is what I'm saying to you. It doesn't have to be someone on the radar.
I think we're going to be talking about one, aren't we?
Hammers Mikey.
I'd never heard of him.
Hammers Mikey, our very own Danny Dyer. Vincent Company, I'd take a chance on him. In fact, I'd take the remains of Vincent Price.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Before we go any further,
Do a poll.
I feel bad doing this. I'm gonna run. How shall I do the poll? I'm not gonna bother doing one on Amorim because I know you're all just gonna say
do
yes.
do the three I mentioned. Do Company, O'Neill.
Yeah.
Company, O'Neill, McKenna. And I think that's it. I'd say out of them three.
Shall I put Lopetegui in there as well?
Nah, because he's old. I'm talking about new brander manager. Or Carrick. Maybe Carrick, although I'm not sold on Carrick at the minute, if I'm honest.
Would you not go for Carrick?
Not yet. Not yet.
No?
Personally, not yet, no. I know he's probably been managing the same time as O'Neill, but I think O'Neill's taken on a far harder task what he's had to deal with. I mean, he was shit on at Bournemouth, and I think he's picked up the pieces very well at Wolves. I know they're not playing great and they're not flying, but, I think he's doing all right.
New manager. So what we'll do is we'll go for... So it's McKenna.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Tommy, Irish Tommy's in the chat going, he's just shouting out, Will Still.
I've got to put Will Still in there.
Will Still for Irish Tommy. Will. Why's he called Irish Tommy? Oh, he's Irish. Yeah, McKenna, Will Still, Company.
Do you know Tommy's actually from Tipperary as well? So Irish.
That's such a long way. Such a long way.
So McKenna, Company, Will Still, and who's the other one?
McKenna, Company, Will Still.
Carrick?
And
O'Neill. Oh, it's got to be O'Neill out of that lot, isn't it? We'll see. Right now...
I said no to Carrick, Russell. I said no to Carrick. Come on.
Well, I'll say no. What I'll do is I'll do them three.
Parkinson. Phil Parkinson, the Wrexham manager.
I'm going to do McKenna, Company, and Will Still, and I'm going to go none of the above. See, just to get an idea of.
If you put none of the above, then some twat will tick it.
No. But this is the idea: is to try and get a gauge of how many people are willing to take that sort of punt.
Di Canio, Clinton Morrison.
Oh, do you know what I would love to see? Right, imagine.
Come up with madcap.
No. But imagine, right?
What?
If they'd have sacked Di Canio after the Palace game, not Di Canio, they'd have sacked Moyes. And then just said, you know what, we're going to bring in Di Canio for 4 games, just to give you something to be happy about. Honestly, how good would it be for 4 games?
Sullivan loves employing madcap, non-controllable managers, doesn't he? Fuck yeah, now imagine him with him. My God.
It's just that image, John, of him sliding on his knees at London Stadium when we score. Do you know what I mean? It would be beautiful, wouldn't it? We'd all love to see it.
It would. But it won't happen. Let's be ridiculous.
Let's see what they're saying anyway. So there's 32% saying none of the above.
Knobs, absolute knobs.
So you got that's 190 votes. But McKenna is least on 12.
Why can I see the poll? Can't see the poll.
No, you can't on that. It's you have to go into YouTube, probably on your phone. Okay. So McKenna, Company's on 27%. Will Still's on 30% at the moment. So a lot of love for Will Still and Company. I think Company would be a good shout. I've got to be honest. So look, for you, what is your verdict on the current Sky Bet favourite at 2-1? It was fucking Amorim yesterday. Now he's 8-1. What's your view on Lopetegui if he comes in?
I think it's a bit. Listen, I hate the word progression, but I don't think that's progression. I think that's probably a sideways step, maybe. I 100%.
Mean. Do you not think he's got like a not just because he looks a little bit like him? Does he not feel a little bit Pellegrini-ish?
Oh, Pellegrini Mark II. You said that earlier, didn't you?
Does he not feel a little bit like that? He's gone for the big name.
Maybe, but sometimes owners who know that the fan base are turning, they sometimes feel that the fan base are demanding this huge name. But I've never been one for that. I'm not sure. West Ham as a club suit a big name manager, and I don't mean that because I'm not saying we're a small club. I'm West Ham through and through. Yeah, I'm not sure. A Mourinho, would that suit West Ham? I'm not really sure.
His style wouldn't. I mean, the only thing I say about Jose, if he was your manager, I think he gives you a little bit more back as a personality. At least, he's a bastard in every sense of the word. I think that at least that side of him, if he was your manager, you probably wouldn't mind. And look,
no,
I don't want anything like that, and that's why Lopetegui or Lopetegui, whatever his name is, I want to move away from this defensive shit. I really do.
We know what you want.
I just want something different. different.
Yeah, I would like to see something different. Of course, I would, but I just wonder. I wonder if the squad, the here and now squad, is ready for that type of manager, and it might be a case of slowly, sort of, catchy monkey sort of thing, where you bring in the next one who's a little bit more progressive, and you get the squad more set, and then you bring in someone who's a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just think Amorim would be great. Of course, he would, but he has got a massive job on his hands, getting people up.
Because if you get Amorim in, this is the thing. Amorim ain't going to be interested in no fucking 2, 3, 4 year plan. He's going to want to say, no, you're going to get these players out now, and I want these players in now. That's what he's going to say. He's not going to be interested in fucking, going slowly, which is what he said apparently. What's that?
Jais in the chat just announced Amorim is due to hold a press conference about his West Ham talks. Well,
they played tonight. They played Porto tonight.
Maybe he's going to do a press conference. Did they win?
No, it's tomorrow. They play tomorrow, 25th.
He ain't going to do a press conference now.
They ain't doing it now. No, that ain't going to happen. Right, so I am going to do one on Lopetegui, right? It's just going to be Lopetegui.
Fonseca.
I'm just going to do yes or no. I want to find out what people's thoughts are on Lopetegui.
I think a lot of people are saying no.
Start poll. I think I won't do Fonseca. If Newcastle, yes, I would be all over it, 100%. I like Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I don't think they do away with him yet, though, would they?
No, they could do. Well, it depends.
Well,
it depends if they're going to go again. Oh, fuck me, that's flying, that one.
What's that?
96% saying no. He's not a popular manager, Sullivan. You can't do this, mate, honestly. Because if he gets him in and it don't go well, what I'm worried about is Sullivan, because no one asked for Pellegrini last time. I don't remember one fan going, "Get me Pellegrini." No one said that.
You're assuming that he's going to get the manager that the fans want. He'll do what he wants at the end of the day.
But what I'm trying to say is, if it fails with Lopetegui, he'll say the fans wanted me to change. That's what he did last time. With Pellegrini, he blamed the fans. He said it was the fans' fault. We never wanted fucking Pellegrini.
Yeah.
That's a big...
Amorim said he'll tell us on Saturday, Mickey said.
Yeah, he did. He did. Sunday the 28th, Sport... Is it? Oh, the 28th. Oh, fuck.
Southeast Hammer says... Southeast Hammer says X said the Stuttgart manager. Oh, I don't know who that is. Edin Terzic. No.
Oh, that's who you said.
No, he's Dortmund.
Oh.
That's Billich's old assistant. He was Billich's old assistant at West Ham, wasn't he?
Do you know he's not even on? Because I looked on the betting odds. He ain't even on there, John.
No.
I don't know where you got that link from.
I don't know. I read it somewhere. Edin Terzic, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Terdic. Yeah, so he'll be when he comes to West Ham.
Well, he knows the club.
Right, Sporting. Oh, no, it is the 28th. Yeah, they play Sporting on the 28th. I read that wrong. I can't have had my glasses on. And then what they've got is on the 26th of May, they've got the Taça de Portugal Cup final. So they've got their FA Cup on the 26th of May as well. And that's against Porto as well.
Oh, Richard Dodds is still alive. Okay. The problem I have is Sullivan is still in charge and will pick a shit manager, where we all know them is the man to choose the manager, but we are run like a circus and the ringmaster is a fucking dildo.
Right. Look. Let's have a discussion about that. Right. So look, it's a big fat no about Lopetegui. Let's face it, people don't want him. So the risk you run now is if it doesn't go well next year, people are not going to be forgiving. Whereas if he was to go out and get a young manager, take a risk, take a chance, get not even Amorim. If he was to go out and get a Will Steele, or if he was to go out and get a McKenna or someone like that, the fans would be more forgiving because there's more curiosity there. It's different. It's something different. This guy, Lopetegui, he'd have to hit the ground running, and there's nothing to say that he wouldn't, because what I think Sam David, he made a good point on Twitter earlier on. He didn't say he's in favour of it, John, but he said that he's not as bad as what people are making out, and he said he's going to have a big point to prove after the Wolves debacle. Do you think he's got a point?
Probably he has got a big point to prove. Of course he has. He'd be hungry to prove himself in the Premier League, because he ultimately failed, even though he walked away of his own accord. He failed, yeah? He wouldn't have want to come in and ended like that, would he?
No.
What's this? Everyone keeps saying read Sean's update. I'm trying to find it. So sorry.
Don't listen to Sean, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I'm
He's probably
trying
saying
to...
Moyes is staying again. He just don't want to pay his £100. Should have paid up by now.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, what's this say? His only lifeline seems to be an unlikely record 4th qualification for Europe. Oh, or
Who's
no
that?
suitable options to take over from him. Moyes. So if we
Yeah.
qualify, basically, if we qualify for Europe, he'll get another contract.
But basically, that is Sean's take on the situation, because I've spoken to Sean. Sean's take on the situation is that if he gets Europe, he'll get offered a contract. That's his take on it. That's
Right.
what he's publishing. It's bollocks,
Okay.
honestly.
I think that's what Claret and Hugh. Yeah, Claret and Hugh. Yeah.
I mean, we've won what we won in the league this year. 2 Premier League games
In 24, yeah.
in
Terrible,
24 in this year, and what, we're going to go and win the last 4.
Yeah. I agree.
With City and Liverpool in there.
Yeah, Sean Wetwipe. I love that name, Wetwipe.
So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna run another poll quickly, just a self-indulgent one. So where are we?
We've got the bigger head, Nick. No, not that one. Sorry.
Yeah. I can shrink mine.
Anyway, I'm just going to let people know that the main reason I came back, because, you know, I've been on gardening leave. There was talk of a loan move to other YouTube channels and things like that. But basically, I came back because I had loads of letters from lonely housewives who said they missed
the women. The women
all
needed you.
All the women said they missed my glorious looks. So I thought I'd come back just to make them feel part of the, make them feel happy again, basically, because I have to look at you 3 ugly fuckers for the last 4 months. 4 months I've been off. 4 months.
There you go. Take part in this poll, people. This is basically a Moyes in, Moyes out. If David Moyes, if David Moyes leaves, Sean Whetstone's paying me £100. If not, then I've got to pay him £100. What would you reckon? What do you reckon that's going to be? Because I'm going to share this with him. Get involved.
I reckon Sean will say to Sullivan, "Don't sack him. And when Nick gives me my £100, I'll give you £30 of it." And Sullivan, being the cunt he is, he'll probably go ahead with it.
God, you know what? There's a lot of people in there, because this is basically a Moyes in, Moyes out poll. 38% have said no.
Maybe they just want you to lose, Nick, not because they want.
Yeah, it might be. Bastards.
That's it. There we go. Look, John has got the pictures of you getting on a private jet paid for by Hamid Jack. Now, if you believe that, you believe anything, because fucking Gio's Scottish and we know how tight they are, just so you know. Anyway, sorry, Gio.
That'd have been a seater on his mountain bike, wouldn't it? That's what that'd have been.
I went to the Leverkusen game. I saw fucking Anton from fucking West Ham Network. He approached me from behind. All I felt was like a giant Jack and the Beanstalk giant hand on my shoulder.
He's genuinely massive, isn't he?
Well, I was sitting down and he was 3 rows behind me and he was even bigger. He was like some, mate, they need to look in. They need to put him in a museum or something.
Right, okay. Should we get on with the big news? Well, I'll say this is big news, right? And it is big news. And I've had to do some research on this guy because I'd never heard of him. So this is a link that hasn't been shared anywhere else. But there is a long list of managers that we are linked with, and this is a name that I've been given. And I'm going to have to sell this one to you because I had to sell it to myself. Because when you look at it on the face of it, he's immediate sort of past. If you look at where they are in the league and everything else, doesn't look too great, right? But
don't kill him yet. Keep going. Don't kill him. Keep him in suspenders.
You got to look a little bit deeper. Amanda's going to love this one. And this is Eusebio Di Francesco, the 54-year-old Italian, right? So Eusebio Di Francesco, he basically managed. He was a very good player as well. You know, he played for Perugia, Ancona, Piacenza. He played for Roma as well. But he started his, I suppose, his rise to fame as a manager in Italy when he took over at Sassuolo. And he was a man that kind of sort of got them and cemented them as a Serie A team. That's what he did. Off the back of that, he was managing them between sort of 2011 and 2017. Managed them for about 200 games. He did very, very well with them. He brought some great players through. I think he was in the club when Scamacca was there as well. And he left, and then De Zerbi replaced him. He left in 2017-18 season, went to Roma. De Zerbi came in and basically took his team, managed them for a few seasons, and then he got the Brighton job. Well, this guy, Eusebio Di Francesco, he went to Roma, did very, very well. They got to a semi-final of a of the Champions League. His football is absolutely beautiful. He's got a real affinity with playing youth players because of the way that he plays. He's quite dynamic as well, quite fluid. You know, he can play the 3-4-3. More typically, he plays a 4-2-3-1, but a proper 4-2-3-1. It's because you do know a 4-2-3-1 is supposed to be an attacking formation.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be. Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of what he did. He was very, very good, very successful. There was something that happened at Roma that wasn't anything to do with football. Nobody knows what it was. Wasn't anything to do with him because this guy's got he's got a lot of integrity. He's a great guy. But look, we all know what Italian football's like.
Corruption, when it's alleged corruption.
If we think English football's corrupt, then go over to Italy. He's not. He's got a lot of integrity. It basically got ostracised from Roma, got sent out, and then he had a few little spells for a few games at Sampdoria. He went to Cagliari, then Verona. And then he took on the job of a newly promoted Frosinone this year. And he took on a job knowing what he was...
What are they called, sorry?
Frosinone.
I've never heard of them.
Exactly. This is the thing. Basically, what he did was he took over Sheffield United. And what he did was he basically utilised and leveraged all of their youth players because I've watched a few of his interviews now. The guy speaks beautifully and he can speak perfect English as well, people. And from what I've been told about this guy, if we think De Zerbi's good, this guy pisses all over him. So he doesn't have an amazing record when you look at it on paper. It ain't big, it ain't flashy, but he is all about football. He's got a wonderful character. He's got he's got a good way about him, but it's all about entertaining the fans. His players love him; they absolutely love him, and he's similar in a similar vein, maybe not as aggressive as Amorim. He utilises youth players. However, Frosinone, from what I looked at earlier on, they had the youngest team in Europe. So he's been taken on Serie A. They haven't finished bottom. They've finished 18th, and they haven't got relegated yet. They've taken a few good scouts.
What you're saying is he's punching with the team he's got.
He's punching big time. There's players in that team that should be nowhere near Serie A, nowhere near it. He's got them playing beautiful football. They're playing on the front foot. Young players that probably shouldn't be anywhere near the team. He's doing fantastic with them. Now this is a guy that and someone like that, and this is, like I say, someone on the list, and this is a Tim. This is someone who would suit Tim because he's worked in a director of football situation before, so he would be. He's a coach first. What he is a coach first. He's fantastic. I've got a picture of him. I think 1 minute.
Ultra says I'm sceptical because Fozzie Bear off third from bottom.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. So I've had to give you the reason why, because it was the same for me when I got the name. I had to do a bit of investigation to see why this man is. But if you look deeper, there's a lot to it. So this is your man.
No. He looks like Dave First.
You say he does, doesn't he? Eusebio Di Francesco, 54. He's got a great, and honestly, the style of football that he plays, it would be perfect for us. And like I say, perfect for Tim. It would work wonderfully. So this is another guy that is on the list and people that they're talking to. So if we do go out and get somebody like fucking Lopetegui, it's ridiculous. Because if you put Lopetegui in charge of Frosinone this year, they'd have been relegated about 5 months ago. They would have. This guy's literally done wonders.
I can't
with
take
them.
that name seriously. I'm sorry,
but he's done wonders with them. And like I say, he was brilliant. He managed Sassuolo for years. He established them as a proper Serie A team, really good. And this is a team with no money, bringing through their youth players, creating players, selling them. Then he got the Roma job, did fantastically well, and it got cut short because there was problems that was nothing to do with football. And like I say, he's a man that is deserving now. So he was going to the top, but he's a man that is deserving to be picked back up again. So I'm fully on board with that one. That's the type of one that excites me. An unknown. I said the other day on my show, I said I'd like to get an unknown manager, someone like a bit of a curveball. That's a fucking curveball. I've never heard of him.
Yeah, no, I'd never heard of him until we looked into it earlier. But so he was going to. What you're basically saying is he was going places.
He was going places. Yeah.
He made the move to Roma. Something's happened behind the scenes. It's almost got him blackballed, if you like.
Yep.
And he's only been brought back in every now and again to save certain teams when they're literally in relegation.
Yeah, like little random jobs here and there. And then so what he did was he took on the Frosinone job again this year. Frosinone. He took on the Frosinone job. This is the thing. I'd never heard of Frosinone.
That sounds like Zuma should play for them.
Eh?
Sounds like Zuma should play for them.
Yeah.
Frosinone or whatever you said.
But this is the thing. So that is quite obviously that is a type of manager, because people like Tim, directors of football and agents, what they do is they look at things analytically, John, don't they? They look at numbers. So Tim will go out and look at somebody that fits his style that he wants to play and wants to deliver. This guy would fucking jump at the chance. And do you know what? He's a type of person as well. I wouldn't say he's a big brash character, because he's not, but he's a lovable character. So he's somebody that we would endear ourselves to, because something that John said, John who came on the show, John the barrister, he said, I just want a manager that I like again. I want someone that do you know what? A manager that endears himself to West Ham fans, that at least tries to respect our culture, tries to respect what we are. Doesn't do what Stuart Pearce did, the cunt, when he sat there with fucking Sam Allardyce on that podcast and completely and utterly ripped the West Ham way and all of this to pieces. I was so disappointed with him. I just want someone that I'm going to like again. And if we're going to take a bit of a risk, then, like I said, someone like him, someone like McKenna, someone like these others would be fine. Lopetegui, I'd be excited if we got that guy in. I would be. If we went, I mean, what a name as well, Eusebio Di Francesco. That's a superstar name for a start. So if we went and signed him, that would excite me. I would be genuinely excited for that. But I don't know, Lopetegui. I can't really get involved in that.
They're the managers. They're the managers that have been around the block, and they don't really create excitement. He managed Spain and Madrid and all that, but it's quite a long time ago now. 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It is very left field. This Eusebio guy is quite left field. I know you say that he was going places, and I don't doubt that, right? And I'm not saying he can't go places. I think the left field appointments would probably, to some extent, suit Sullivan because they wouldn't have to pay him silly money.
He wouldn't be demanding stupid money.
And also, you wouldn't have a big Frizzy No probably wouldn't have a big...
Mate, he literally, there's an interview. There's an interview that I watched before I did this, because I had to do some research on him. So there's an interview that I watched where he took the job at Frosinone, right? At Frosinone. And, mate, you want to hear the way he's talking. He knows the job that he's taking on. And his first game of the season was against the fucking Scudetto champions, Napoli. And he's the way he's talking about the game as well, because who's the guy, the bald Italian who was managing Napoli? What's he's a fucking... Well, they're best mates. They're literally best mates. So he leaned on him, got a few loans off of him as well. And I think he'd left at that point, and he'd left at that point. So this it was Rudy Garcia or someone like that was in charge of Napoli. But the way he was talking, he was like, "We're going to go out there, we're going to go at them. We're going to give them a bit of a shock. They're a good team, so are we. We're going to cause them. We're going to make it really difficult for them." He just believes in his system and the way that he's playing.
It's an interesting appointment. Like you say, neither of us knew too much about him until earlier on this evening. So our knowledge of him is very limited, and we're obviously only reading it based upon what we've found in articles. But it's interesting. It's something different, and if he lives up to the name, about being exciting, then you'd be excited to go again, wouldn't you?
He is someone that, like we said earlier on, he's somebody that's, he's been, I suppose, at the top, you could say. He went from Sassuolo, he went to Roma, top Italian team, and he's taken a lower job at Frosinone, and this is a guy that would fucking jump at the chance to prove himself again. So yeah, someone like that, I'd be so happy. Whereas I don't know, like. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to do a poll.
Oh my God, you and these polls, man. The thing is, like you and some other West Ham fans, I think pretty much, is anyone better than Moyes for you?
What do you mean? Is anyone better than Moyes? Yeah, at this stage, anyone. At this stage,
any manager is better than having Moyes. Yeah, for you.
Yeah, 100%. But that doesn't mean that. What I'm saying
is a boring manager. No, I get it.
No, because it's not. It's a style of football. What I want is a change in ethos, just a little bit more fucking ballsy. Do you know what I mean? And the most important thing, the most important factor for West Ham is to make use and utilise this fucking youth academy that we've got at the moment. So whoever comes in next has got to have a history of bringing through youth players.
Yeah.
They have to have.
But I mean, having Stighton in is a very non-West Ham thing to do anyway, and hopefully that sort of changing of the ethos of the club by just getting him in to start with might mean we might go out and get a bit of a more left field, young, dynamic manager who will bring excitement back to the club. Because at the end of the day, people can say exactly what they want, and you know my stance on Moyes. I'll always respect him. He does bore me to tears. I'll never forget the trophy that we won. And yes, everyone's going to go, oh, we should have won it. It was Mickey Mouse. Whatever. That's neither here nor there for me. But we do need something to get excited about again. And that will stem from the manager. The next managerial appointment is massively important because you need to bring back a higher percentage of the fan base who, because of the style, have been alienated. We need to get them back to basics. We need to get back to being exciting.
Yeah.
Want to go over to the London Stadium and to want to go and watch your club again.
I'll just 1 second. I've run a poll. Right, imagine these are your two choices. So it hasn't got to be, I would prefer Amorim. We'd all prefer Amorim. Of course we would. But if your two choices are Lopetegui or Eusebio Di Francesco, what would you take? So give me an answer out of them two.
Oh,
that's all that is. Right. So just imagine all the others are off the table.
Yeah, but these people don't have a chance to look up about the geezer, have they? They don't know nothing about him like we didn't. They just,
mate. The more I looked into him, the better it is. Like I say, he had a couple of iffy jobs in the middle between Roma and, like I say, Cagliari, Sampdoria, where it was only a few games each time, and then he took the Frosinone job. Mate, he's the next one. And like I say, I've been assured by somebody that does know this shit that this guy, if you think De Zerbi's good, this guy is the bollocks.
I know it might be a bit naive because I don't watch a lot of European football, but I've never really heard of De Zerbi personally.
I didn't know.
So for me, he was an unknown.
And he weren't, because like I said, he did well at Sassuolo, with the foundations that Eusebio laid, and then he went on and did well at Shakhtar. But obviously it's Shakhtar, they think they're the only fucking team in that division, aren't they? And then and then Brighton brought him in. And look, listen, I must admit, what a manager he is. I will say, De Zerbi is fantastic. I would say Potter did an amazing job. And when they lost him, De Zerbi improved Brighton, didn't he? Initially, like they got better.
He added a more attacking element to their play. I mean, Potter done very, very well. Let's be honest. Let's not take it away from Potter, whose name has been tarnished by the Chelsea debacle. But De Zerbi took them onto the next level in terms of going forward for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Well,
it's an interesting. Look, it's an interesting link. It came out of nowhere. Obviously, you got the information. 5, 6 o'clock today. It came out of nowhere. It could be total bullshit, but I for one,
it's not bullshit. It's not bullshit. He's on the list. We've got a lot of players. Tim's got a lot of managers on the list. I know of a few more as well, but there wasn't really any that. A lot of the names are out there. A lot of the names that are on the list are out there anyway. But this is one that wasn't 100%, and there's a few others as well. But I'm not doing the research on all of them. I think it was a name. It was a sexy name, John.
Yeah, you like sexy things, don't you?
I like the sexy name. He sounds like a superstar. Eusebio Di Francesco. It does.
It sounds like two 1970s World Cup winners who are married.
It does. Yeah,
like an Italian and the Portuguese bloke have got together and had a child. No, look, I'm all for left field appointments, mate. Listen. We would have to be really shit to be relegated. I know it's a big rebuild, but I think we want a bit of excitement back now. Look, if we don't qualify for Europe, let's have a bit of excitement back next season. It has been exciting at times this year, but few and far between.
Fuck me.
No, but there's been a couple of Laserfuse the other night was brilliant, Nick. I got to say, it was
no. You. I must admit, you saw my review after that one because I'd done a show before. And I said, there's been no games this season where I've been sitting at home thinking, I wish I was there. I wished I was at that one.
Yeah.
I was watching that, and honestly, mate, Not even just a lot of people are criticising the second 45. I thought the whole game we because I thought it was such a battling performance because the reason we fell off in the second half was because those poor bastards got knackered. They got fucking tired, and we had no bench. We had no way to change it because of what he's done to this squad. And this is the other thing as well. Listen to what Amorim has said to Sullivan. Moyes knows what he's done. Even he's cold so much. He's formed this so that basically it's an almost impossible task for somebody else to come in next, which it almost is. When you consider Paqueta is going to be leaving as well.
So you're saying Moyes has planned for his departure?
No, mate, I'm telling you, he ain't stupid. No, John, he ain't fucking stupid. People say it, but people say he's left us in a strong position. Far fucking from it.
No, he
we
hasn't.
We are not in a strong. We are not in a strong position. If we don't get in Europe this year, we're in fucking tatters. When you look at that squad,
people are looking at the fact when they say he's left us in a strong position. They're looking at where we've finished and what we've done in Europe. But what ultimately is left is not what's gone. It's what's left on that bench. It's what's left in that dressing room. It's the squad you've left behind. Yeah. And, you have to be fucking, I'm sorry, in my opinion, you have to be stupid to think that is a strong squad that he's left behind because it isn't. No way, shape or form.
But I will say one other thing, Sullivan. If Sullivan it does happen to ever watch these things, if you're using Lopetegui to scare us off of getting rid of Moyes, no. I would take Lopetegui 100 times over Moyes. So fuck it. If that's all we can have, go and get him. All right? But
you're portraying as Sullivan as bitter and twisted and clever and conniving.
He's a conniving cunt. This is what you're going to have. Well, this is like the fucking Spanish Sean Dyche, isn't it?
Come on,
a little bit.
But you can't be a fucking hypocrite because when he was going to Wolves, you did a show on it. I think.
I know, and I was wrong.
Brilliant.
It was the name. It was. I like sexy names. It was until I realised that his football was shit, and you saw what Gary O'Neill's done with a smaller squad.
Arnie Slot, anyone?
Arnie Slot would have been for me.
Yeah, but he looks like he's dead cert for Liverpool, doesn't he? No?
Do you know why Arnie Slot would have been, even over Amorim, right? Arnie Slot would have been the man for me because it isn't just his football, right? It's the fucking character. I think that's why Liverpool are going for him. He's a big, brash character that will endear himself to the Liverpool fans. He would have been perfect for us. We would have fallen in love with him. And yeah, he would have been amazing. I would have loved Arnie Slot. But that's obviously never going to happen now.
A little bit of contradiction to what has been said. Navi Ruben, attacking football. I didn't think he did personally.
No, honestly, mate, he doesn't. I know you're a fan. And listen, if he comes in, Navadius, if he comes in, I will support him.
Yeah,
I can't not. I've been campaigning for Moyes out for the last 2 years. So I can't not support him if he comes in, and I will. And I will hope like fuck that it goes well, because if it doesn't, we're all going to be blamed for getting more, because that's what Sullivan will do, and the media will blame the fans for handing Moyes out. That's what will happen. So if we end up with Lopetegui, I'll get fully behind him. But there's better options out there, mate.
I don't understand why people think like Moyes would be hounded out, because apart from your Klopps and your Guardiolas, the shelf life of a Premier League manager is probably 2.5 years, I'm guessing, roughly. I mean, he's been there a lot longer than that, and he's done well. He's done well winning the trophy. So I think he's just met. I think it's the natural progression of where we're at. I think he's come to the end of his time naturally. I don't think the fans are pushing him out, because I think if you take the fans out of the equation, just look at the results or the lack of results. Most other clubs would have got rid of their manager based on the stats. Of course. Of this 2024.
Mate, 15. We've had something like 15 points from our last. It's ridiculous. That it's relegation form. The last 15 games.
Moyes has been given. Moyes has been given a pass based on the fact that Sullivan hasn't got fucking the backbone to do anything really, and also that we were still in Europe. So now Europe's over, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think that's it. There's no going back. And I'll listen. I'll wave him off and say thanks. I won't be a cunt and call him a cunt. But
no.
The important thing for me, what the club should be doing, is they should be letting the fan base know. Because you know what? I think if we knew he was going, I think even a lot of the haters would come back round and go, you know what? We know what's going on there. Let's get behind him and the team for the last few games. See what happens. not saying they're going to suddenly start singing his name, but I think a lot of the spitefulness and hatred would go because it's coming from the fact of not knowing and all this stuff about, contracts on the table, Whetstone going, if we get into Europe, he'll be offered another thing. The fans just want to know why, if we've flown Amorim over, surely the club should come out and go, look, David is definitely leaving at the end of the year. Give him respect now. Let's just move on.
He knows. Moyes knows he's done.
Why
that's the thing.
Why not announce it? Why have this constant toing and throwing? Why have all this frosting?
Because I think Sullivan feels like a bit of a cunt there, and so he should. Because I think he was playing a game. He's been leading. The master plan was, I've been saying it for fucking months, was they was dangling the carrot to David Moyes because they didn't want to do what they did to Sam Allardyce and say you're sacked at Christmas. You've only got to the end of the season. It fell off a cliff. So what he's tried to do is he's tried to lead him on. He's tried to lead him on to. They wanted to qualify for Europe. It hasn't worked. Mud on his face, mate. Mud on his face.
So this is to you, M. Smith. Sorry, mate. No one monitors the chat except me at the minute. And there's so many messages coming through. I can't get them all up. So I do apologise. But let me see what you're getting at. You had your chance to discuss Amorim's press conference and the fact that he's going to say it was a mistake meeting West Ham as reported.
Tonight. So are you predicting what he's going to say?
No, I think I might have seen something earlier where I think he said that a Portuguese journalist said that Amorim's going to come out and say that it was a mistake meeting West Ham to try and get his own fans over there back behind him, I suppose. So
yeah, I don't think so. I'm still sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. Honestly, we'll see what he says. What's this today? Oh, John, I'm sorry, mate. You got to do it. Just do it.
Oh, for fuck's sake! It's like some sort of.
Do it.
Pew, pew, pew. I can't believe that has become a catchphrase. I mean, what is going on in the world?
Did you see how Gary died inside on that video the other day?
Yeah, I'm glad Gary reacted like that because everyone thinks it's me that hates the fucking pew.
But no, look, it's been a good show. We're gonna wind it down now. What I will say, I don't know whether you all remember the appeal that we did a little while ago. With Alfie Bennett, Sam from Bas Vegas's nephew who passed away. He was finally laid to rest today. So he was 8 years old. Absolutely tragic. But he had a very good send-off today, and just wanted to, send my condolences to the family once again. Really sad story. Just to kind of finish off the show. Thinking of you, Sam, over in Bas Vegas.
Yeah, rest in peace, young man.
Rest in peace, young man. Rest in peace. So yeah, John, great to have you back on, mate.
Yeah, probably the best thing that's happened to this show in a few months, isn't it? Really?
Great to have you back on. And you're back on Sunday, is that right?
Oh, here he goes, trying to get me tied down and signing contracts and all sorts.
Yeah, you're back on Sunday, just getting his commit.
Possibly. Yeah, no, I should be all right for Sunday.
Yeah, good. Yeah. All right, lovely stuff. So we'll have a full house on Sunday, everyone. Thank you very much.
Is Mickey going to be on Sunday?
He is, yes.
Oh, I might be watching him, yeah. Because he's going to do pew-pews all fucking show, and I can't handle that.
He will, just to piss you off.
Yeah,
right, so I'm going to play us out with a meme. See you later on. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
Well, I'd say that what MD's getting here with me is a very experienced Premier League manager. Arguably, there's only 2 or 3 who've got more experience, games in the Premier League. I think I've probably got the biggest win rate out of a certain amount of managers as well. So I think if you're putting it that way, that's what I do. I win, that's what I do. I win, that's what I do. I win, that's what I do. I win.
I've gone and pissed myself. What do I look like covered in this? I look like a fucking loser drenched in piss. I was gonna sing about yourself, but instead I went and pissed myself. At least I'm not lost all self-respect until now, because oh fuck, I've gone and shit myself. Well, would you look at this? I'm all covered in piss and shit. Just earlier I was looking swell, but by golly now I smell. And that's too bad, because I was gonna sing about yourself, but instead I shit and piss myself.